Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Season 1 of the anime Cannon Busters on Netflix. And this anime is kind of mediocre at best. I mean, it would be a good time filler if you need one, but it just has so much stuff going on in it that it falls into the category of Jack of all trades, master of none. So, it starts off and we are introduced to kind of like our main cadre of characters. First we're introduced to like Sam and Casey as they're trying to find this person called Philly the Kid so that way they can get help to get to Gar's Keep to get to Prince Kelby. And we learn throughout the rest of the story that Sam is this robot and that she's been best friends with Kelby since forever, since they were really little, and she wants to go and make sure that he's safe and all right. Now, there's more to it than that because of the things going on behind with Sam, but that's about the extent we get to it. And she's just been going around getting friends to help her on her journey. And that's an alright setup. It's a good premise. It's the execution that falls because that's about the extent that we get for Sam. She just goes around trying to find friends and making friends with people pretty much no matter what and just continuing on with essentially no consequences. Never mind that not really any of the choices she makes really do any consequences. It's mainly that the plot forces her to do something. So they find Philly the Kid, who is a wanted man, pretty much in the vein of like Trigun mixed with Spike Spiegel's kind of character design as well. There's a lot in this anime that it takes from like old school kind of sources, but never really makes its own. I'm never really interested in the world, even though it's talking about magic and tech and everything. There's like a shattered moon that's sometimes in the backdrop, but it never tries to really delve into that lore or really get you that connected with the world. And we find out that it's kind of important that Billy the Kid's wanted because he's also immortal, and every time somebody tries to kill him, he gets a new tattoo on his body and showing the number of times that he's died. So, like, say he gets killed on his, like, the 15th time, boom, 15 pops up. Again, interesting, but when they delve into the backstory, we find out that he made a deal with some kind of sorcerer person to sell his soul to get revenge for the death of his family. And granted, we see a lot of stuff pertaining to his family, and that something bad happened to them. The Boudica kingdom, where Prince Kelby is the prince of, had somehow something to do with that, and he sold his soul to be immortal so that way he could get his revenge. Again, kind of cool concept. Execution is where it falls flat. So, Sam is able to hook up with them, and they just go on kind of episodic adventures. We get this kind of interesting Ronin dude named Nine, who is hard as fuck to understand. Now, I watched it dubbed, and his lines, I know it was trying to be like a mush mouth, kind of like, you sons of bitches, give me my beer, kind of old man crotchety kind of thing. But it was just so hard to hear sometimes. And the thing is, I wasn't. I'd really like to get into characters and dialogue and everything, and it just pulled me out even more as I'm like trying to decipher what this person's trying to say. Where I've got to fight with the volume control on my TV that I gotta turn it up so I can hear him, but then I get blasted out by music or something because I turned it up so loud to hear what a character is saying. It's like, come on. And evidently, he's part of this like Ronin assassination group, and he really does nothing. I mean, he drinks beer and kind of antagonizes Philly, and then goes off on his own, and then pops back up at the end of the season, because fuck all. A lot of things happen in this anime because the plot demands it. And it's just not that interesting. Which is really strange to say, because I've had like episodic kind of animes that I've seen, like Cowboy Bebop. But the thing is, that is done so well that you figure out what's going on through each episode, and there's still through lines that are interesting to get you through for each character. I don't really have that for any of these characters. The Philly revenge thing doesn't pop up until a little bit later, and you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Some characters are thrown in for plot reasons for an episode to have its episodic thing. Like, this lady wants revenge on Philly because, I don't know, there was a bounty on him, pretty much the same bounty. She sent some people after him, and he killed them all, and then she sends pretty much this dude who'd been sorcered to be a little kid, and that's the kind of fight we got. It's like, alright. All of these strange things happen, but they really have no narrative consequence other than to fill time. The weirdest part is there's so much kind of filler in this, and it just feels like nothing really happens and you don't really get that much out of the characters. Granted, you get little bits and pieces, but not enough to be like a real character delving amount. And really, it's just about Philly, his car Bessie, and these people going to Gar's Keep. They get to Gar's Keep, and we've seen throughout that Kelby and his guardian Odin have been going to Gar's Keep. Granted, they fight some people, but for an action anime, most of it's not really that engaging. I mean, some of the fight, no, they're basic fights. Not really too much movement going on, and even when a mech is involved, i.e. Bessie transforming into a bull mode, and Mechina is like, okay, cool, we got that as well. It's not really that interesting. And I'm not trying to knock it to be like, oh, it's the shittiest thing I've ever seen. No, it's just basic action. It's nothing that's really done to elevate it to be like, okay, you really have to watch it because this cool ass moment. There's no, let's see, there's no like Gohan versus Cell fight where you're like, holy shit, boom, boom, boom. There's no like any kind of fight in Naruto. Granted, I have not watched all of Naruto, but I've seen enough people to talk about Naruto and be like, oh, this fight, that kind of thing. Funny enough, I bring that in because there is a ninja in here that really rips off the Naruto kind of style going on as well. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's just, eh. And evidently, while this is going on, we learn about what's going on in Boudica that was attacked by like a magician dude that's evidently like the first son of the king, and he wants Kelby for reasons. It's never even really delved into. When you're doing a narrative, you always want to balance out telling people what's going on, showing people what's going on, and being able to have the narrative skills to weave it to such a degree that you're able to get people intrigued to see what's going to be happening next, but not being so opaque that you're like, I don't care. Like, if you've gotten, like, a couple episodes in and you haven't really shown what that kind of mystery is or kind of alluded to other things going on around it, you really need to work on that because we see Locke, the firstborn son, torturing his father and then calling upon this other kind of what I'm going to assume is a demon, and that evidently this demon's got more power over him and he's afraid of it, and that's about it. Again, showing the more effectiveness of showing instead of telling, but also showing the problems of if you just show something without any context, it doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, cool. And then that's about the amount that we get from it. Really uneven pacing on how the narrative structure kind of goes out. So we got that going on while we were learning about Kelby, who him and Odin got to Gar's Keep. The whole place was taken out because Locke had sent his cadre of 4 assassin kind of people who have orders not to kill him to go bring them. And they all converge, and we get that throughout the story, Sam has been having, how shall we put this? Whenever one of her friends is in danger, she goes into cannon buster mode, and she's able to like fuck up some shit. Well, we get into a point where Philly is pretty much getting ready to try and kill Kelby in revenge, but for plot reasons decides not to. We don't even get any kind of consequences if this breaks his deal with the demon or whatnot. He would immediately die, which would have been interesting, but that doesn't happen. It's just Sam is pretty much getting ready to fuck some shit up, but we find out that she's a war golem, which is evidently pretty much an artificial being with a soul. And that's kind of the exposition that we're given as she fights an airship that can transform, fucks it up, and she has a kind of weird-ass moment where she's trying to kill Philly, but Philly's decided not to do his revenge anymore. She goes, oh, goes down. Kelby gets captured, and that's about it. Also, Bessie gets fucked up completely as well. That's also where Nine pops back in, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on? This is almost, I would equate this to watching someone who grew up with anime and found all the toys and tried to make their own anime, but didn't put their own style or their own kind of spin or their own kind of characters and story into it. They just figured out the archetypes, figured out the cool thing that they wanted to copy, and boom, this is what we got. And it's just really uninteresting. Like, even with a bad kind of anime, I can at least give them credit for trying to do a concept and failing at it. And trying to kind of do something. It's like, even in failure, you can learn something. Like a really bad thing, it's like, oh god, holy crap. That's at least more interesting because then you can find other things to kind of entertain yourself. When something is just done like this, and it's just kind of, it's not horrible, but it's not like I wouldn't want to put my time into watching it. That's the kind of territory we've got here. I know I've been saying this a lot lately, but this is mainly only a last-ditch resort of if you really need something that's really not going to take you a lot of time and you just need something to kind of have on in the background while you're doing something else, okay. No, there's even worse animes than this that you could put on in the background and at least have fun with. I would not recommend this anime. There's not really any character depth to really get you in the characters. The action scenes you can find in a lot better anime. Just go watch those. Anything else? One Piece, Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball, Full Metal Alchemist, anything. Go for that. And even the animation style. Like, there are certain scenes where, like, Philly was going to get, like, skinned or whatnot. And I understand that you want to take the time and put as much detail into the important bits of an anime as possible. But it just gets to a point where you saw, like, the other bodies, and they were, like, flayed, and they just didn't look good. And I'm not talking about, oh, they look creepy and disgusting. They were just, like, okay. It just looked like the bare minimum effort was needed to put in to make that background passable. And it's just, alright. It's not ugly to look at, but it's just not, holy shit, this is, like, some new age definitive style. This is where it comes into the play of, okay, you're copying all these other things and you don't have anything visually distinct that really pulls you in. It's like, okay. So, if you're looking for character depth, look for another anime. If you're looking for action, look for another anime. Just look for another anime. So those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.